Plus. Download now.
A very warm welcome to you. You're watching News9 Mediaverse and this is On Point with me. And it's been an unprecedented winter session of Parliament. As many as 92 opposition members of Parliament, 46 from each house have been suspended. And the reason is continuous disruption. 78 members were suspended today while the rest of them were suspended last week. How should one view these developments? Is the opposition being bulldozed? Is Parliament becoming Vipaksh Mukt? Or government feels that the opposition has been completely in a mood to stall, not cooperate? But then, this has been the feature of the Indian parliamentary democracy. Opposition has stalled the parliament, but this is the first time that so many MPs have been put out of house. Now, before I go to my colleagues, the guests, let me take you through some of the reactions that have come out of the parliament. Because what has happened is unprecedented. The parliament is going to be synodized on Friday. So you have no work on Friday. That leaves Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know what will happen to bills like the telecom bill, which is an important bill which replaces the Telegraph Act of the British. And hundreds of other things would have been pending like that, but that's stuck to my mind. But before I go to them, let's listen into the parliamentarians, both sides, as to what they have to say.
With your kind permission, I move the following motion, that this House, having taken a serious note of the misconduct of Shri Pramod Tiwari, Shri Jairam Ramesh, Dr. Amin Yagdik, Shri Narayan Bhai J. Ratwa, Shri Syed Nasir Hussain, Srimati Phulo Devi Netam, Shri Shakti Singh Gohil, Shri K.C. Venugopal, Srimati Rajni Ashok Rao Patil, Srimati Ranjan, Shri Imran Pratapgadi, Shri Randeep Singh Surjewala, Shri Sukhendu Sekhar Ray, Shri Mohammad Nidimul Haq, Shri Abir Ranjan Biswas, Dr. Santanu Sen, Srimati Mausam Noor, Shri Prakash Chik Baraik, Shri Samirul Islam, Shri M. Shanmugam, Shri N.R. Elango, Dr. Kanimozi N.V.N. Somu, Shri R. Girirajan, Professor Manoj Kumar Jha, Dr. Fayyaz Ahmed, Dr. V. Sivadathan, Shri Ramnath Thakur, Shri Anil Prasad Hegde, Srimati Vandana Chavan, Shri Ram Gopal Yadav, Shri Javed Ali Khan, Srimati Mahua Baji, Shri Jose K. Mani, Shri Ajit Kumar Bhuyan, who continuously shouted slogans and even entered the well of the House during the course of the day, thereby disrupting the proceedings of the House in gross violation of the rules of the House and utter disregard to the authority of the chair, and having been named by the chair, resolves that the above mentioned members be suspended from the service of the council for the remainder of the 262nd session under Rule 256 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Council of States.
Suspended from the service of the council for the remainder of this session 262nd session under Rule 256 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Council of States, Rajya Sabha.
Misconduct of Sri Kalyan Banerjee, Sri A. Raja, Sri Dayanidhi Maran, Sri Aprupa Podar, Sri Parsur Banerjee, Sri E.T. Muhammad Bashir, Sri G. Selvam, Sri C.N. Annadure, Sri Ajiranjan Chaudhary, Dr. Sumiti, T. Sumiti, Sri K. Navas Kani, Sri K. Veeraswamy, N.K. Premchandran, Sri Saugat Rai, Srimati Satabdi Rai, Sri Asit Kumar Mal, Sri Kaushalendra Kumar, Sri Anto Antony, Sri S.S. Palni Manikam, Sri Tiruvakkasasar, Srimati Pratima Mandal, Srimati Kakolo Ghosh Dastidar, Sri K. Murlidharan, Sri Sunil Kumar Mandal, Sri Ramlingam, Sri Suresh, Sri K. Suresh, Sri Amar Singh, Sri Raja Mohan Unnithan, Sri Gaurav Gogoi, and Sri T.R. Balu in utter disregard to the House and the authority of the Chair, including the display of placards in the House, and having been named by the Chair, resolved that the above-mentioned members may also be suspended from the service of the House for the remainder session of the Rule 374-2. And sir, with your permission, I also move that Sri Jaikumar, Sri Abdul Khalik and Sri Vasant MPs be suspended till the report of the Committee of the Privilege for creating the great disorder in the House. The behavior of the above said members may kindly be referred to the Privilege Committee and they need to be suspended till the committee gives its report.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत प्रस्ताव को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ।
So I'm joined by Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, and my colleague Brijesh. Brijesh, it's going to be Vipaksh Mukt Sansad.
Well, I think, I mean, you know,
मतलब कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत तो सुना था, पर विपक्ष मुक्त संसद हो गई.
Well, honestly speaking, even the government must not have bargained for the kind of scintillating winter session of Parliament, if I may say so. You know, with that massive security breach where two youths managed to jump inside the well of the House. And today, you know, 78 member of parliaments being suspended. I love to love to stand corrected, but I think I doubt if as many member of parliaments have been suspended on a single given day. I think you know the opposition is also is ensuring that they will not let go of the government over the kind of embarrassment it faced due to the massive security breach which took place in the Lok Sabha.
Amitabh, is it because of pure indiscipline, or is it because of the boost which Bharatiya Janata Party have got in the recent assembly election? You know, it doesn't make a difference. You know, you can do whatever you want. You know, the image remains sound and firm for its voters.
Loyal voter.
You know. Can you unmute yourself, Amitabh? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, it's a highly. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
It's a highly unfortunate day for our democracy. I mean, today, if we include all the suspensions, around 12% of the parliamentarians have been suspended, correct? So it is a result of both the parties. I mean, when I say both the parties, the ruling party and the opposition hardening their stance. It shows a lack of accommodative politics. It also shows that perhaps the speaker as a person is a strict person in both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and there is no room for negotiation left. There are no people. There is a lack of ministers who could act as an olive branch between the ruling party, the speaker, and the opposition. So I would say taali ek haan se bajti nahi hai. So ultimately, it's a fault of both the parties, and it also shows how highly polarized as a society we've become in the past 10 years. So the polarization also shows in the parliament and the parliamentarians with little room for opposing views. And I think we as citizens should question this, because if we admit, because Speaker and Tehseen should actually point this out, because I was just looking for uh, who does the Speaker report to, sort of in a corporate structure, if it were a corporate structure. So, and I couldn't find the answers to it. So and somebody has to also speak to the speakers, be it the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs or the Prime Minister or the President, because
We humbly
they
request the
have
Speaker.
years of
Indian
experience.
Constitution makes Speaker in
The Lord and
Constitutional Affairs
Master.
number 3 in protocol. So either the
Yeah.
President can speak to the Speaker or the Vice President. Speaker
Yeah,
comes
because-
before.
No, but then there is always there's a lot of merit in what Amitabh is saying, because if you remember, Kartike, during the decades we have covered Parliament, there's always a set of ministers who are ready with the outreach. Whenever the opposition is hell-bent on making sure that we will not let the house run out, these ministers are ready with the outreach. They make the outreach, some concession given, and the Parliament functions. And as per the late Arun Jaitley or others, senior, when they had disrupted Parliament for almost 2 years, they said that it's job of the government to make the Parliament function, not the opposition.
And it's elected by the parliamentarians, correct?
Exactly.
There is an election for a Speaker. So he or she is answerable to the Parliament also, which includes the ruling MPs and the opposition MPs.
I think it's beyond the Speaker. Jaitley would say the opposition should have its say and the government should have its way. But
Exactly.
Tehseen yahan to the way and the say have come, दोनों साथ साथ आ गए.
Much for
Tehseen,
having me on the show, and
Yeah.
no, I'm never on mute. Believe me, nobody can put me on mute. But speaker or no speaker, we seek protection from Kartike. But in this show, I'm going to quote some things that Kartike is involved. I'm not making this up. On 26th August 2012, speaking outside Parliament to various members of the media, including Kartike, used to cover Parliament at that point of time, late Shri Arun Jaitley ji said, "We don't want the government to take the escape route through discussion. Hence, we will continue to obstruct Parliament." September 7, 2012, again speaking outside Parliament, Kartik, I don't know if you were present there in that one as well. The late Sushma Swaraj ji said, "Not allowing Parliament to function is a form of democracy." Now, what are the opposition MPs asking for? There has been a terror attack on our Parliament, a terror attack because the government has charged, the Home Ministry has charged these youngsters with UAPA, a terror law. When this terror attack happened on 13 December 2001, the then Home Minister of India, Shri L.K. Advani ji, immediately came on the floor of the House and made a statement. We have not seen that from the Honorable Prime Minister or the current Honorable Home Minister. The current Honorable Home Minister spoke about this terror attack in a TV show. The Prime Minister spoke about it to a newspaper, but they have not thought it or deemed it fit to address the nation through Parliament. There are draconian bills that are going to go, more than the telecom bill, the broadcasting bill, that can shut down anyone's accounts at any given point of time or hold anyone under any terror charges. They want to pass these bills, hence opposition voices are being suppressed. All opposition is asking is that the Honorable Home Minister make a statement in Parliament. I don't know why is that so difficult for the government to concede to. But here's a more important and more pertinent question. The MP who issued the pass to these so-called terrorists or misguided youth, whatever you want to take it, he's so far not been suspended. I don't even say that he gave it on purpose, but he's not been suspended. Brijbhushan Sharan Singh ji, who molested wrestlers, who went to ask him for protein, he was groping them, as per Delhi police, has not been suspended. Ramesh Biduri used the most foul language in Parliament, which I cannot use on your show. He's not been suspended. And of the MPs who have been suspended, one was not even in Delhi, they've been suspended. And therefore that begs to ask the question, are the Honorable Speaker and Vice President of India truly acting as independent members, or are they acting as associated with a political party? Because how can you behave this way? This does not behove a parliamentary procedure. We saw Arun Jaitley ji, an entire winter session was washed out. Kartike, you were covering 2G very, very closely. I remember that. An entire winter session was washed out. Arun Jaitley ji was not suspended. Sushma Swaraj ji was not dragged out. What is going on in our parliament?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But, this brings me to a larger issue. We can say that you are right and that person is wrong. What is prompting the Treasury benches to do so. You see, that's the whole issue. It means what is making them impervious to the public opinion, or has someone really decided that it really doesn't matter? You know, we'll come to all of this. It's time for a short break. Please don't go away. Only 2 minutes. I'll be back.
तो जब हम करेंगे तो पता लग ही जाएगा। सलमान खान का करेंगे, मारेंगे यहीं जोधपुर में मारेंगे तो पता लग जाएगा।
This is someone who is sitting inside our jails and is still very obviously and openly running and possibly the largest organized criminal operation in the country.
Student organization of Punjab University में सोपू का acting president type भी रहा है.
He was a troublemaker, getting into fights with people, not coming to the class.
As on date, it appears that Lawrence gang is the most important, the prominent gang. Gangs here in Punjab, they are intimidated.
Today, he's India's most dangerous gangster, and India's presence are apparently no bar to how Bishnoi runs India's largest criminal empire.
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Okay, I'm also joined by Suresh Kochetal, political analyst, and Manaswi Thapar, lawyer, and also someone who speaks on politics. Mr. Kochetal, first your take. Why is it necessary for the Treasury or for the Speaker and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha to suspend MPs? I mean, to say whether it was Lokpal or one of the most contentious, the tribal bill which was introduced by UPA, even though OBC reservation UPA won. The house was adjourned continuously, but barring very few times, people were either suspended or thrown out. But this time, lock, stock and barrel, more than
78 MPs.
78 MPs have been
from both houses.
They have been shown the door.
Well, I can't speak for the Speaker or the Vice President, who is the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. None of us can speak on their behalf. It is their prerogative to decide to suspend or not to suspend. Obviously, because they were not suspended before doesn't mean they can't be suspended now. So let us be very clear on that. But one thing that I demand always, be it the earlier MPs or the present set of MPs, if somebody is restricting Parliament, I think they should forego all whatever they get for the payment for that particular session of Parliament. They should be kind of stripped of it. If the Parliament doesn't function for a day, all those who are responsible should be identified, and their whatever they get in terms of their wages or whatever you want to call it, they should not be, for that sitting, should be taken away from them. They should not be allowed a return flight to go back to their home state, but of course they have tons of money to take their own tickets. This is the way to put forth the thing, because, okay, one might go back to history and say, okay,
how would have then BJP forced Congress on Lokpal if the privilege of protest was not available to them?
See, you protest. Nobody said don't protest. Now, if you remember earlier, when I don't remember the occasion, what they said, Modi ji should reply to, I think it's a couple of sessions ago. They said PM Modi should reply to some particular point. I don't remember exactly what it was. And later on, when the Prime Minister started speaking, you will realize that the entire session was drowned out. Whatever he was speaking was drowned out by shouting by the opposition, because they didn't want to hear him. Because he came and gave a clarity, and the same thing will happen. I can write it on a stamp paper and give it to you. The moment Amit Shah starts speaking, if he speaks, will be drowned out, because they don't want to listen to him. They just want to make a point of getting him to the floor and make a statement. He will make a one-line statement saying, okay, the inquiry is underway. The Speaker and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha are absolute owners of what happens inside the Parliament. The Delhi police or the Home Ministry has no say in it. Okay, he says that and gets away. Will the opposition be satisfied? No. They will say, come, Home Minister has to resign now. So it is very, very clear.
I think that's a bit technical. The security of Delhi Parliament is with CRPF and police.
No.
It's a bit technical.
Sorry.
I also covered Parliament attack in 2003.
It has been
I think Advani also spoke, if I am not wrong. I was in the week magazine.
The Speaker clarified, if you remember, day before yesterday, that inside the Parliament, it is he who is the boss, and of course the Rajya Sabha Chairman is also the boss. It's outside. That is why you don't find any of the security personnel, including the watch and ward staff, carry arms into the Parliament. It is only the SPG and the Z plus security people who are allowed, and that too they sit outside the chamber. Fine. What happened was condemnable. What happened should not have happened. But Bholanath Pandey hijacked Indian Airlines aircraft with another Pandey, and both were given MLA tickets and MP tickets by the Congress. Now, Congress will not speak about this because that is a different thing. They'll say, oh, that happened in the past, so why do you want to bring it up now?
But Mr. Kochetil, when it comes to these kind of things, no party has covered itself with glory. You know, the opposition can also come up with 50 such names which are referring only to Congress. Hear me out. No. Mr. Kochetil, hear me out, please. You know, the point is, then what should have the Congress done with Arun Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj and Rajnath Singh and the whole of the BJP? Then shouldn't the opposition be, shouldn't the law of the parliament be that you can't ask for any questions? And if you ask and if your question is not honored, you ought to be kicked out or suspended? Is this what you're suggesting?
Is it asking question they were kicked out?
Yes, of course. They were protest. If you don't allow, they will protest. Is it for the first time protest has happened, Mr. Kochetil?
No, that is what I'm saying.
No, I understand you're a BJP sympathizer, Mr. Kochetil. Nobody is pro or anti.
See, don't label me as such.
No, but you are. I mean, you know, Mr. Kochetil.
When Tehseen says his point of view, you
don't
say...
he's a Congress supporter.
No.
Mr. Kochetil, Tehseen openly says it. Tehseen openly says it.
You can say it for me. I'm just trying to put a point of view.
I'm asking you a question. Did Congress erred by not suspending the whole of the BJP the second they rose in protest? They should have adopted the same attitude.
They should have done that.
This means they have erred to uphold the parliamentary law, which is like, you know, if the opposition can't protest, Mr. Kochetil, you know, I agree that at times it becomes impossible. But are you saying that, you know, opposition can't protest and ask for Home Minister's statement?
You protest for what? You protest and you walk out if you want, but you can't keep holding the parliament hostage the entire day. How much of money is going down the drain? You'll say that it happened in the past. So what? You just suspended. Who asked you not to do it? Did somebody say don't suspend? The problem is, I'm telling you very clearly, I think you made a point at the start of the debate. It is the brute majority that the BJP has today.
Exactly.
And they know for sure that nothing will happen if they these guys get suspended. Nothing they can do. I can write it and give it again.
No, now you're talking absolutely correct. Now I agree. Now I agree. You know, you have the thing. You have power, you bulldoze it. That's the thing. But don't go under the pretext of how the parliament functions.
This also shows, there is one statement, and I'll go to Manaswi. I read, Ram Manohar Lohia का एक statement होता था कि संसद आवारा हो जाएगी अगर सड़क गर्म नहीं होगी. तो राम मनोहर लोहिया का ये कहना था in context of a hugely dominant Congress, because that was the opposition. They had no say. You had leaders like Indira Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. So and every time they would lose elections, so people would say अब करते क्या हैं? बोलते सड़क को गर्म कर रहे हैं, वही कर सकते हैं. तभी संसद, नहीं तो संसद में भी नहीं सुना जा रहा है. तो ultimately it's like a cycle of life. In that dominant position, you have the Bharatiya Janata Party. It doesn't make a difference what you do inside. So that is why things happen. But Manaswi, first your take on this. But I don't want to use the word impunity, but the fact of the matter is that for me as a journalist who has covered Parliament for 20 years, it just tells me one thing. Someone has decided it will not make any political difference, electoral difference. Let me be blunt. Someone has made this calculation, फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा.
बिल्कुल सही बात है, फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा on the electoral point of view, because BJP has taken the electoral understanding very well, and they have also taken up the political understanding very well to the top-notch level of disrupting democracy in the way which has never happened in independent India. Now, coming to that, with this kind of parliament, which is not a parliament, this is BJP ka parliament, this is not Parliament of India, this can be conducted from BJP headquarters also. Coming from that point, since 2014 started, before that, if we go back post 2014, what we had seen was, we as citizens of this nation always believed that democracy is run by disruption. Democracy is run by asking questions, by walking out. That is what we had always seen. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani ji, Sushma Swaraj ji, Arun Jaitley ji have all been the greatest disruptors of this particular parliament, and entire country loved them, because they asked in the parliament relevant questions which are tough for the then government. But now, if the same kind of questions are being asked by the present government, they will not tolerate disruption. They will not tolerate any kind of questioning. This have never happened, so this is questionable. Now, with this understanding, what is BJP is very much interested in one nation and one everything. Now, this is coming out to be one nation, one party. This is coming out with one nation and no parliament. So, is BJP pro-democracy? And previous commentators said that if Amit Shah makes a statement, he would be disrupted, he would be shouted out. So that is the reason you are suspending MPs. You are scared that MPs will disrupt your speech. That's why you're suspending them. This is a bizarre understanding of a democracy. Even when in 1962, when Jawaharlal Nehru, after coming up with the third Lok Sabha, winning it up with 300 plus seats, and the entire opposition did not have more than 40 seats, when that China-Indo war happened, everyone questioned Jawaharlal Nehru. It's in the parliament between November to December. All the parliamentary meetings happened, and everyone conducted a pro understanding in which Jawaharlal Nehru was questioned. People also questioned him. "Aap bik chuke ho. Why is Indian understanding discussions which are happening in parliament are leaked in UK?" These were the kind of questions, but by then the most powerful prime minister and most powerful person of this country was questioned, and he took that questions and he answered them point by point. Yes, this is our army strength. This is our economy strength. This is our strategy. Though we lost the war, but we did not lose on the parliament front. He was answerable, and in the mid of the war also he was conducting a parliamentary session. He could have also suspended the opposition. There could have been no questions asked. But right now, this is a bizarre understanding for a democracy. It's not about opposition or Congress. It's about how we as citizens want a democracy. Do we want questions? Do we have the right to question? Right to information to baad mein padegi. Pehle, do we have that right to question? Can we question our own elected government? Do the opposition in the future, the kind of treatment opposition is getting here, we don't see there would be leaders who will actually come out and question in the future. This is very wrong for this particular country, which is supposed to be the mother of democracy. We have to protect the basic essence of democracy, which is questioning. Okay. Basic essence of the democracy is
okay.
Right
let me go across to let me go across to Tehseen. Tehseen, there's another dimension to it, and then I'll go to Amitabh. It is also an absence of an opposition with its own LOP. This is the second time in last 10 years that the opposition has failed to come up with a party that can give an LOP which is 60 plus. Like you never had an LOP in 52, 57, 62. That's one. And secondly, it's an agnostic question. There is also an absence which I really feel, of absence of those speakers to whom you would like to listen. For example, in 2004, and if you look at the parliament in 1919, you had Chandrasekhar, you had Mulayam Singh. They would get up and start speaking. There's an absence of those stalwarts who would say, I want to speak, and they would stay put in parliament, and that verbal jostling. So yes, what the treasury has done is incorrect, and as an anchor of the show I say it, I feel it personally. But there is also an absence of those tall speakers who would say, no, I will debate and I am going to speak for half an hour. That's also not there.
So let me address the second part of your question first, then the first part, and I have two lines to add. But just to begin with, I absolutely, undoubtedly support the Congress. और किसी से डरता नहीं हूँ, छाती ठोक कर कहता हूँ. So please don't put words in my mouth that I don't support this, that I absolutely support. Now let's come to the issue at hand. I completely agree that there is a little bit of a problem with the opposition in not having the most articulate voices, particularly in the Lok Sabha. So you do have Shashi Tharoor, who's fabulous. You have Manish Tiwari, who's very good. You have Gaurav Gogoi, who spoke very well on Manipur. But by and large, the heavy punching that Sushma ji used to do, or Arun Jaitley ji used to do in opposition, or even a Sharad Yadav ji used to do, but I'm not a very big fan of Sharad Yadav ji, that is lacking. It's also, for example, on the Manipur issue, I thought rather than going to Bharat Jodo and etc., if you would have been more precise and we would have spoken on Bharat Jodo, the entire media was waiting for speech. So I think that those things need to be worked upon by the media. I also think that even in Rajya Sabha, there seems to be a slight amount of problem where you're not getting those opposition voices who can speak very well and take the thing around. But that's no excuse, because now let's go to the first point you raised, the absence of an LOP. But there is an LOP in Rajya Sabha, Kharge ji, yet you had 46 suspended in Rajya Sabha as well. And Kartike, please remember, I just draw you back to the 3 farm laws. The government did not have the numbers, so they passed the 3 farm laws on a voice vote. Then Jairam Ramesh, etc., asked for a division of vote. वो नहीं दिया. They didn't give a division of vote. When has that happened? They refused to give a division of vote. And then what happened? You have to take the farm laws back. So this is a draconian government, and the reason they're passing these, kicking these people out is one, they don't want to speak on a terror attack because as for the government, this is a terror attack. Number two, more importantly, they want to pass these draconian bills, especially the broadcasters bill, which is absolutely, I'm astounded that such a bill could even be drafted. It seems to have been drafted by some police officer rather than somebody who understands law or the nuances of constitutional law. But let me come to let me end with two lines. It's Dinkar's poem, which I've slightly modified. भाजपा इंसाफ दे न सकी, आशीष समाज की ले न सकी, उल्टे विपक्ष को बांधने चली, जो था असाधने चली. जब नाश मनुष्य पर छाता है, पहले विवेक मर जाता है. इनका विवेक मर चुका है. इनका विवेक मर चुका है. That's the problem. That अहंकार, that घमंड. But they should remember that घमंड तो रावण का भी नहीं टिका था. घमंड दुर्योधन का भी नहीं टिका था. जो राजनीतिक हाल इनका होने वाला है, वो वही है जो कुरुक्षेत्र के युद्ध में कौरवों का हुआ था. वही राजनीतिक हाल इनका होने वाला है. People of India don't like this. If you kick the opposition out for raising points, for asking the Honorable Home Minister to address a terror attack, I think that is shameful. And he's spoken about it on a TV channel. Why can't he speak in Parliament? And if the opposition walks out, which is a hypothesis, the people will vote the opposition out. Anyway, they're not getting too many votes. I concede
one thing, Tehseen, that yes, if the matter can be addressed in interviews, print and TV, I think the matter can be addressed in Parliament. There is no doubt about that. But there is one thing which Suresh also said, and I do agree, that of late the opposition had also developed a tactic. You know, BJP did it in a moderate form. They took it to a different length. That when they would invite the government for a debate, and when it came to the point of answer, the protest would start. It's time for a short break. Then I'll go to Amitabh, Suresh, and Manasvi. But let's take that short break for now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries in the world, you don't have three garbage mountains waiting to welcome you depending on whichever side of the city you enter from.
The thing is that a lot of times we talk about landfills only when there's a fire at the landfill. You need to understand that a landfill is at fire almost throughout the year. It's only when the firefighters are not able to douse the fire is when it actually catches the nation's attention, the city's attention, or media attention.
The towering landfills worsen one of Delhi's biggest problems: pollution.
यहाँ पर आप रात को आओ, दिन में आओ, आप 1 घंटे बैठ नहीं सकते बाहर. इतनी धूल, प्रदूषण, महक, आप खाना भी नहीं खा सकते बाहर बैठ के.
Life around the landfill is a curse.
हमारे घर में जो बड़े हैं उन्हें अस्थमा के वो पेशेंट है, आए दिन उनको नेबुलाइजर लगाना पड़ता है.
डॉक्टर ने मुझे ये चीज बोला कि यहाँ का एरिया छोड़ के कहीं और जाइए.
Delhi's garbage mountains are now a fetid symbol of the national capital's trash problem. The question is, who is to be blamed? Watch Delhi's Garbage Mountains. Streaming on News9 Plus for the Genflix.
BrahMos. Stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now. China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it. It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. This and more. Streaming on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
So ultimately, there is also another aspect to it, which is called dignity of the parliament. Mr. Kochital, if I leave aside Bharatiya Janata Party, Congress, parties come and go. It's also about dignity of parliament, a functioning of parliament, of parliamentary democracy. Everything set aside, it impacts the dignity of the parliament also. If I keep the political parties aside, they come and go. Parliament is at the center of our democracy, isn't that?
Yeah, I think it's correct and there's no definition. But I just want to get back to Tehseen on a point. He said that the BJP is passing these draconian laws and they're going to do this and that. Just want to hack back to the emergency period when the word secular was inserted into the preamble of the constitution by Mrs. Indira Gandhi when all the opposition leaders were in jail. I mean, if you want to talk back to Nehru and did what Nehru did, the earlier speaker also spoke about it, saying Nehru was the one who did this, Nehru was... Okay, fine. How is the secular word come into the constitution? Did anybody question Indira Gandhi saying, how did you insert the secular word into the preamble by putting all the opposition leaders in jail? This is what happened in the past. I'm not saying that is correct or this is wrong. But what happened in the past also should be, if you're going back to talk about what Nehru did, let's talk about what Indira Gandhi did. Okay, fine. The parliament is a place for debate. And there should be that way. I mean, we had beautiful debates in the past, right from the Constituent Assembly to the present last Lok Sabha at least. But what you're seeing now is a continuous sloganeering. Okay, people will say Arun Jaitley did it, Sushma Swaraj did it. It is no better in state assemblies. The same thing is happening in state assemblies. If you see that, you see the Kerala State Assembly, there's slogan shouting all through. There are suspensions, there are expulsions, everything happens there, but it doesn't come to the national media. But again, the point is simple. How much does it cost to run a Lok Sabha for a day? How much does it cost to run Rajya Sabha for a day? I'm saying deny them the privileges. Deny them the amount of money they're supposed to get from all this. Not that it's going to make a major difference to them. But definitely what needs to come out is very, very clear. If you're not willing to listen to the other side, what they have to say, you just forget it. That's simple as that. And that is what's happening. I mean, I saw Modi ji's speech last time. It was totally drowned out. Totally. Even though he continued speaking for, I think, almost 1.5 hours. They kept shouting and shouting and shouting. And what did they want to know? They wanted Modi ji to speak. And when he spoke, they tried to disturb his speech. Is that the way you do it? Let the opposition give a guarantee that, okay, when Modi ji speaks or when, Home Minister Amit Shah speaks about this issue, that they will keep quiet. They will not. They will make sure that they disturb it again. They will drown it out because they'll say that's not what we wanted to hear. We wanted to hear something different. I mean, you can't force words into somebody's mouth. Either the point of view, okay, they said it outside the parliament. Definitely, was it an interview with a media house or elsewhere? They put across a point of view. You listen to the speaker, the investigation is not complete yet. When the investigation happens, suppose, I'm just taking a very hypothetical situation. Suppose tomorrow, the finger points towards Congress for some obscure reason. Will the Congress then say, no, this entire inquiry was kind of biased. We knew that this was what was going to happen. We don't want to listen to Amit Shah anymore. Finished.
But Mr. Kochital, there is one thing, it's perfectly understandable in terms of rules and responsibilities in context of house. But if you can speak with media houses, you can definitely speak in parliament. And secondly, for example, there's certain quorum which comes into play. But I don't know, there's always that legal space. For example, there's no cabinet briefing when parliament sits. That is why you have releases. You don't have a minister briefing when the parliament is in session. So, this gets me to the question that, Manaswi, the tone and tenor of the Lok Sabha is set. I mean to say, this is like chalta hua parliament session, last day all the bills will be cleared. Then you will have vote on account in Feb, which will be like a 48 hours to 72 hours affair. BJP knows that there is no point investing in this parliament because it's not going to function. Whatever you do, it's not going to function. And this reminds me of a conversation, and I can quote it. with LK Advani. He had taken over, it was 2005, 2006, and he was speaking in context. I will not name the political party. So I said, why aren't you supporting them? You know. So he basically said it. He said, you have to, me, such a junior reporter, but he had the he had the time and patience to listen to me and answer. And Deepak Chopra was there at the back, you know, looking at his watch. The thing he said, when you are nearing an election, you can't be on the same page with the government. And even the government cannot be on the same page with the opposition. Basically, he was telling me, yes, there are rules, but when it comes to politics, when it comes to electoral politics, before that you have different rules in play. So Manaswi, is it that, you know, you just can't be on the same page 90 days before Lok Sabha elections? 100 days before Lok Sabha election? You just can't be on the same page. So the parliament is a casualty.
No, I think it's even bigger than that. Why would I say that? Is because BJP is very powerful in terms of electoral politics. So they understand it very well that these kind of suspensions will not actually matter. For example, if this would have happened in 2014 or 13 when Congress was in power, BJP would have gone on streets, on roads, and there would be a massive protest against Congress.
But Manaswi, there is a difference. You know, Manaswi, there is a difference. BJP has a simple majority of its own. Congress never had it. So the concession we give to the Congress cannot just be on the basis कि उन्होंने बेचारों ने कुछ नहीं किया. वो कर नहीं सकते थे. आपकी अपनी majority नहीं थी. आपकी अपनी majority नहीं थी. You had pulls and pressure in your system. You couldn't have done it. Congress did it when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. They did it when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. As you say, कि एक बहुमत वाली सरकार और एक अल्पमत वाली सरकार में there's a difference.
Absolutely.
Correct, Brijesh? So there's a difference. So it's wrong to compare. It's like apples and peaches, boss.
No, but it's about comparing BJP with BJP. Atalji would never have done this.
Because he never had numbers. Let me be the devil's advocate. Let me be the devil's advocate. You know, I stopped Suresh a lot. Let me be the devil's advocate. He never had numbers. उन्होंने तो राम टेम्पल को भी ठंडे बस्ते में डाल दिया था. नंबर पे डिपेंड करता है ना. सो द बॉटम लाइन इज कि इस देश में बहुमत वाली सरकार का एक नेचर होता है.
नो
है ना, यही बात है ना.
There is only one
बहुमत की सरकार का एक नेचर होता है.
Majority, you behave a particular way. If you don't have a majority, you behave a different way.
अरे भाई, राजीव गांधी could fire a sitting foreign secretary in a press conference.
No, that's what I'm saying. Said that, like, you know, there is a clear cut behavior of what a power is. And in fact, you know, one of the very senior minister, you know, in a conversation with 6-7 of us who cover BJP, he said that, you know, you guys are too much reading into this and that. And then, you know, because it's also always an education, you know, talking to these people and ministers, not because, you know, they are ministers, but because the kind of public experience these guys had. And he said, like, you know, I just want to tell you guys one thing, that if you have an absolute majority, everything works differently. And if you are on crutches, everything behaves differently. The equation with media changes, the equation with stakeholder changes if you have absolute power. And there's a completely different thing when the shoe is on the other foot, when your government is on the crutches. So, I mean, honestly speaking,
it's a power play.
It's a power play. And I've always said, Karthikeya, that, you know, when any party had power, they have behaved in the same brutal fashion. It's not like this is unique. But yeah, if you ask the question that whether what happened is right or wrong,
is Amitabh there?
This what happened.
Is Amitabh there with us? Sorry, Amitabh, I forgot about you. Do you agree with what me and Brijesh are saying?
See, of course, BJP has the absolute number, the brute majority. So it is taking these, perhaps it feels that electorally it's not damaging. And because of the 3 electoral victories, it also perhaps will be seen by the supporters of BJP as a firm action and as a strong action. But again, as Pratap Bhanu Mehta ji said, this is like speaking to the converted. And hardcore ideological voters cannot win any election for BJP or Congress for that matter. That's why BJP was at 180, 186 during Vajpayee's time. Correct. So if the neutral or the swing, so what is the reaction of the neutral or the swing voter to these actions? That is very important, number 1. Number 2, well, I pity about the youth today. I mean, if they watch the parliament, they might get a feeling that this is how the parliament is run. Correct. So that's also not correct, because you were talking about the dignity of the parliament. That is very important. I mean, it's a temple of democracy. And I was just trying to do some research or trend as to why this is happening. Correct. And you guys have been covering parliament for so long. Please put your thoughts into this.
ऐसा मत बोलो अमिताभ, ऐसा लग रहा है कल मुझे रिटायर कर दोगे.
अरे नहीं.
Anyway, it's a tough industry यार.
ट्रेंड
कल बोलेंगे हो गया.
ट्रेंड देखिए, ट्रेंड. Earlier, Lok Sabha speakers were heavyweights. When I say heavyweights, they had vast legislative parliamentary experience.
Correct. True. I agree. True.
Somnath Chatterjee, Meera Kumar, Sumitra Mahajan, Shivraj Patil, P.S. Sangma. Mr. Om Birla, and I'm not doubting his capabilities and abilities, has an experience of only 5 years in parliament, so has not seen parliament. Mr. Dhankar was an MP for only 1.5 years, from 1989 to 1991. Correct. So these people have also not seen parliament, not seen the way accommodative politics and how to run a parliament. And that is why what I was speaking earlier is the fact that somebody needs to speak to them also. I mean, they are a very strict taskmaster, it seems, because as a teacher,
Maybe BJP wants strict taskmasters.
No, but BJP wants strict taskmasters is fine. But there are institutions. There is a president of India. There is a prime minister also. Is he agreeable to all this? I mean, we are assuming that he is, correct. And on the point that you have mentioned about the statement outside the parliament, when the parliament is in function, I think it is always appropriate to make statements inside the parliament. If you are willing to answer outside, why not inside? Correct. That's number one. Number two, speaker is the in charge of security. I mean, this is pretty, I say, a very ridiculous argument. And if speaker is the in charge of security of the parliament, then it needs to be changed. He cannot be. Correct. I mean, you cannot give a reason that the speaker is the in charge. If he is the speaker, then the home minister should be the in charge of security, because such a delicate thing cannot be left to the speaker. Correct. Because Delhi police does not report to the speaker. CRPF does not report to the speaker. CISF does not report to the speaker. So many things have been brought to light, and we see, we hope that a fruitful discussion happens and something works out for the remainder 3-4 days.
But Brijesh, before I close my show and throw to all the bites, that we had collected today from the parliament, it also, though Amitabh made a very relevant point, generally you had people in the chair of the speakers who had spent at least 4 terms, 3 terms in the parliament. But is it also because of the fact that the outlook of the government is slightly different? They want to run the parliament slightly differently, and it's a government with a simple majority. They have their point of view, and they are executing the way it has to be.
Well, they have their point of view, but it is definitely not being executed the way it has to be. I mean,
has to be.
It's the parliament, I mean, you don't become the principal or the headmaster and try to teach.
But a lot of people would say that Somnath does the same thing,
No, it's a completely different thing. Karthike, Somnath Chatterjee, you all. I mean,
Suresh wanted to come in. Sorry, Suresh. Mr. Kochital, you have to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted, please. I'm unmuted. Okay, there's a point of view to say that when we say today's youngsters are the swing factor, please remember, if you ask a youngster to view today's Lok Sabha or yesterday's Lok Sabha and the noise, there's a hell with this parliamentarians, what the joke they're making out of it. That is a typical reaction of a youngster. A youngster today likes somebody who's tough, somebody who takes a call and says, do it. They love that stuff. They love, it right or wrong, that is the way it is.
But Mr. Kochital, youngsters, you also have a pretty inherent inbuilt disdain for politicians. So should we do away with politicians?
No. Disdain is not a question. This time in the Telangana elections, you'll be surprised. The number of voters who swung the other ways, that was the 18 to 22 batch. And that is what made the difference this time. It is not the traditional voters. I have the deep dive analysis into that. You can check it out. These guys, typically, they are the Instagram generation. What do you want to tell them? Tell them in 30 seconds. Simple as that. They don't have patience for all the long, winded speeches. And that's exactly what BJP is doing. They know that their voters love this kind of stuff. Suspend them, bang them, throw them out, finished. And that's what youngsters today love it.
I think there is a limited point here, because the politics shift. Are we witnessing a shift from protest democracy? Because Indian democracy is outcome of an anti-colonial struggle. So are we witnessing, after so many years, a shift from a protest democracy? It was the in thing in 60s and 70s after VP Singh. So are we witnessing a different sort of a generation which wants to see parliament differently? Okay.
There's also a thing that, earlier I'm forgetting the exact year.
No, I'm not disputing. Suresh has a point because,
I'm not entering into a debate with what Suresh said. I'm saying something else. What is happening is that, there are times when somebody asks, like, which is the best parliament you had? Which you admire and all. Everybody said that, one which had Nehru ji, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, every person of eminence and all. The other gentleman said no.
But that's utopia.
No. They said that is the best parliament. But then they said that, the fact of the matter is that the best parliament is a parliament 5 times later when it had the better representation of the society we live in.
What is best?
So,
best is what you have, and rest is utopia, and yes is dream, and yes is what if of the history. I think the bottom line is, there is a consensus that, so many MPs shouldn't have been suspended. Parliamentarians should be taken to task. I mean, so if there can be a Mudgal, there can be Mahua Mitra. If Nehru moved a motion against Mudgal, there can be a Mahua Mitra. But the issue is that if you suspend every parliamentarian, then how do you expect an accommodative nature of parliament to assert, and I agree there with Amitabh, over a confrontational approach. I think an accommodative parliamentary approach is far better than a confrontational approach, and it really doesn't work because what is happening is people don't realize that the bills are not getting debated. This telecom bill, the people can talk till Adams about it's good or bad, but it is replacing the Telegraph Act, a sort of a colonial relic, and it's not being debated properly. I think that's where the debate should be. I leave you with the bites of what the parliamentarians had to say, but I think 92 opposition MPs suspended is unprecedented, could have been avoided.
सारे नेता सस्पेंड, हाँ मैं भी सस्पेंड हो चुके हैं सुबह से, और कई दिनों से हमारा मांग बड़ा सीधे मांग कि एक तो ये कि हमारे जितने एमपीस को निलंबित किए गए हैं उनको बहाली हो। आज की सरकार तानाशाही की चरम शिखर पर पहुंच गए हैं, उनके पास बहुमत है और बहुमत की साथ साथ बाहुबली की डंडा घुमा रहे हैं और सारे सदन को जैसे कि अपने पार्टी ऑफिस के मुताबिक चलाना चाहते हैं। सदन आरएसएस और बीजेपी के तो पार्टी ऑफिस नहीं बन सकते, तो इसलिए चर्चा करने के लिए मुखर थे हम लोग। और आप लोग शायद ये देखे होंगे कि जिस दिन से सदन की शुरुआत हुई, पहले दिनों से, एकदम पहले दिन से हमारी तरफ से बिल्कुल और भरसक मदद हम लोग की है ये सरकार को, साथ साथ सदन चलाने को। आप अगर उत्पादकता की हैसियत से देखें तो 13 दिसंबर के पहले सदन में उत्पादकता कितना था, आप खुद इसका जायजा ले सकते हैं।
आई एम सस्पेंडेड। जब काला दौर होता है ना, तो तानाशाह को ऐसी ही संसद चाहिए कि जहां लोग बकरी मेमने की तरह मैं करते रहे। आपसे सवाल पूछ रहे हैं ना साहब, देश की सुरक्षा का मसला है, सिर्फ संसद की इमारत का नहीं है। एक आधिकारिक बयान नहीं दे सकते हो? क्या चाहते हो? विपक्ष मुक्त संसद आपने बना लिया, लोकसभा में उतने किए, राज्यसभा में 45 कर दिए, जो बचे खुचे हैं कल कर देना। लेकिन याद रखे जाओगे, ये दौर याद रखा जाएगा कि जब से अपने दूसरे टर्म में मोदी जी आए हैं बहुत कमजोर हो गए, और कमजोर व्यक्ति ही इस तरह की हरकतों को प्रोत्साहित करता और करवाता है पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर द्वारा।
देश आज साफ साफ देख रहा है कि पार्लियामेंट के अंदर कैसे बुलडोजर चलाया जा रहा है। ये कुछ नहीं है, ये विरोधियों को रोंगने का ये एक प्रक्रिया है, विरोधियों को कुचलने का एक प्रक्रिया है, और सिर्फ अमित शाह जी को उनके विफलताओं को बचाने के लिए एक बुलडोजर चला रहे हैं विपक्ष पर, जनप्रतिनिधियों पर और जनता के अधिकारों पर। वो मूल अधिकार जो सवाल उठाने का जो मूल अधिकार है, संविधान की जो मूल अधिकार है, उन अधिकारों पर आज रोंगने का काम भाजपा कर रही है।
See, we have been demanding that we should be heard and action should be taken against the BJP MP also who has given the pass. That's one thing we wanted, and we wanted the HM, Honorable HM, to come and give an explanation. and to revoke the suspension of the already suspended MPs. But nothing was heard, so we were all protesting, and that's how we ended getting a suspension again. No voices heard, no discussion, and no action taken against them who are actually against the BJP MP, but who were protesting. We were all thrown out of the house.
मेरी एक सलाह है मोदी जी को, ये सारा ढोंग छोड़ दें, लोकतंत्र का, सदन का, सत्र का, संसद का, बंद करें ये सब और अपनी तानाशाही चलाएं, क्योंकि असलियत ये है कि हर वो व्यक्ति जो अपनी लोकतांत्रिक ड्यूटी निभाते हुए लोकतंत्र के मंदिर में सवाल पूछेगा, उसको निलंबित किया जाएगा। मोदी जी को विपक्ष का चेहरा बर्दाश्त नहीं है। पहले आपने 15 सांसद निलंबित किए, अब आपने 31 सांसद निलंबित कर दिए, और ये कितनी बड़ी विडंबना है कि विपक्ष के लीडर को, अधीर रंजन चौधरी जी तक को निलंबित कर दिया गया है। तो सदन में अगर विपक्ष की आवाज ही नहीं होगी तो सदन और लोकतंत्र का मतलब क्या है? मोदी जी को ये ढोंग छोड़ देना चाहिए, अपने मन से जैसे चलाना चाहे देश को चलाएं।
अनडिसेंट व्यवहार आज विपक्ष ने किया है, इसलिए बार बार स्पीकर ने फ्लोर लीडर्स मीटिंग, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का फ्लोर लीडर्स मीटिंग्स में भी किया है, बात किया है, और चेयर से भी बार बार आदेश दिया है, बार बार रिक्वेस्ट भी किया है। अगली व्यवहार नहीं करना चाहिए और वेल के अंदर नहीं आना चाहिए, प्ले कार्ड्स अंदर नहीं ले आना चाहिए, मगर बार बार क्योंकि आज जो विपक्ष है इनसिक्योरिटी में है, आने वाले चुनाव में इनसिक्योरिटी के कारण आने वाले चुनाव में फिर इस संसद में आते नहीं आते, क्योंकि उनके पास कोई एजेंडा नहीं है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी सरकार के खिलाफ, बीजेपी सरकार के खिलाफ उनके पास कोई एजेंडा नहीं है, कोई इश्यू भी नहीं है, मगर बगैर इश्यू को लाकर जानबूझकर इसको, इस सेशन को चलने नहीं देना, उसको रोकना, उसको अनडेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम से वातावरण क्रिएट करना, ये बहुत लोग, जनता भी कोई सहमत नहीं है। स्पीकर बहुत आक्रोश था, स्पीकर ने तय किया है इनको सस्पेंड करना चाहिए, हम समर्थन किया, इतना ही है।
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text.